right-hand side, Don Juanito himself, it is MajOr.
Now, I think this might be... It's either the first or second game I've ever casted of MajOr. I just, like, I don't get a chance to cast these guys all too often. Like, I had the pleasure of going over to...
I'm just going to very quickly do that, guys, because I can't do that.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
We had a very special observer last time.
Sorry. I just can't control it with that inverted mouse.
Yeah.
You know, speaking to Alex before, he does it with like FPS games as well. He has inverted mouse. I'm like, are you flying an airplane? Or are you...
How does he do that?
I don't understand.
Does he really do that? That's
yeah.
insane. That's unbelievable. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to cast MajOr here against Elazer. Elazer, I love this guy's play. So fun. He's one of the fastest Zergs, or players even, that I've ever watched play StarCraft. It's funny how so many fast players are all Zergs or Terrans. It's weird the way that works out, right?
I mean,
what about the Protosses?
It's funny, right? I think of like Liquid Hero.
Yeah.
That's like the one
That's
Protoss
it.
who's like
I'm
just like spamming his keyboard like a madman.
There's one really fast Protoss out there that's like, no, what about me? You don't know me.
Well, these days there is a lot of things for Protoss to micromanage, but when it comes down to those like fundamental macro tasks, Terran and Zerg are like constantly inject, constantly place depots. You know, you can't just get the one probe to build a bunch of pylons at once. But APM, not always the measure of all things to do with skill in StarCraft. But yeah, Elazer's opened up hatch first. It is Echo. So it's a map where 3-base versus 3-base, it is kind of hard to get in and do some damage. However, in the past, we've seen things like Liberators come in on the angles and the natural and the third do massive damage. We've seen a lot of multi-prong from Terran get out of control. And as the game gets later, the real point of contention is going to be that 4th base and whether Elazer can kind of get creeped out there and control the middle of the map.
MajOr getting off to a good start, trying to get some kills here on the lane. He's already got one. The other 3 are very low. The Queen does pop out. We'll push this away. Should stop the harass.
Great micro.
Hope he doesn't lose that.
Yeah, really well done, though. Did really waste a little bit of mining time. Of course, Elazer had already snuck the drone out. The cheeky drone went down. Took the 3rd base while he was dealing with the harass. MajOr has now seen that. And, of course, MajOr back at home. Oh, wow. Looks like he's doing the same build. We actually saw this from Maru yesterday in one of his series. I believe it was against Nurture, where it's just a Hellion expand, straight into 3rd command center, then Tech Lab on the barracks. This is like Heart of the Swarm TVZ in Legacy of the Void. And a lot of players stopped doing this because Ravager busts were so common in the early days. There was a lot of crazy aggression coming out, but that stuff's died down. Terran players got so good at defending it. So as long as the Zerg doesn't scout this 3rd command center like right at the beginning of the game, usually the Terran is able to get away with it.
Yeah, and it looks like Elazer was supply blocked there. Actually in the red at some points. So
sorry, terrible observing by me. This Marine came across the map and actually sniped down an Overlord.
Yeah. Did I say observer also? Like, we're just all over the place.
I think you said Overlord.
Okay.
I don't know. I understood what you meant,
I'm
Valdez.
not sure, yeah. But it supply blocked him, and it denied some scouting on the main base of MajOr too, so he doesn't know about that CC just yet.
MajOr's being so annoying here, really using his mobility, coming in from multiple angles, trying to just make things very uncomfortable for Elazer. And Elazer, I mean, he's just trying to build queens, Zerglings, trying to secure this 3rd base, get his creep spread out there. He's going to start to do that. But MajOr already just making these slight adjustments to hunt down Overlords on the map and really limit Elazer's vision. If we look at Elazer's vision, no idea what the follow-up to this is. And that's why he, you know, he might need to build some Spore Crawlers in the near future because he just has no idea if there's going to be Banshees or not.
Yeah, he's just kind of, you know, it's a game of limited information, and he sees the amount of units that are coming out, so he's like, okay, maybe he's got a 3rd base, but he really doesn't know for sure. Just as you said, he might have to take some safety precautions. And he's doing a good job stopping this harass. You know, he sees only 4 Hellions. He's like, okay, that's not that many. And he is just safely macroing up on 3 bases now, getting those 2 Evo chambers up, getting those upgrades out and going. It looks like MajOr with that 3rd CC is just, okay, he has added that 2nd engineering bay already, just starting the armor a little bit later.
You know, it's interesting with this sort of style from Terran, these Hellions really are the only map presence. So MajOr does want to keep these alive, But what the Terran player gives up is the ability to be doing those fast pushes, the double medevac Marines, all these sorts of early pressure builds that we're used to seeing Terran players do. And as a result, it's quite possible for Zerg to get a lot of creep out there, but hold the phone. It looks like these Zerglings could be going for the wraparound. MajOr going to try and use these minerals to hide those Hellions.
Oh boy.
But looks like they are going to go down. This one last Hellion, he's going to keep on microing it. MajOr's never going to give up this Hellion without a fight. It looks like he might actually kill all the Zerglings, so taking a reasonably okay trade there.
Zergling number 11 and 12 join the fight and help out. Does kill that there. You could see that Elazer, he's been on 61, 62 drones here for about a minute and a half. So he's really, or maybe not that long, but a very, very long time, really just securing that economy on 3 bases very fast. Does take his 4th. And as you were saying, you know, the Terran just kind of has to sit back with the build that he chose. He doesn't really have any pressure outside of those puny Hellions. Now he might begin to move out as the stim finishes up. 1-1 is nearing completion. Combat shield's on the way. But Elazer's in a pretty good spot where he's going to have his own 1-1. Baneling speed on the way. Lots of defensive units here to help stave off the Terran at that 4th base.
7 Queens, 34 Zerglings, and about to be 7 Banelings as well. All there in that unit stab, but the units aren't there to protect the Queens. Great focus fire from MajOr. Snaps 2 of those Queens. Does just start to step on out of here. Almost leaves a few Marines behind, picks them up at the last moment. This is a really nice play from MajOr. Oh, he's also going to catch these Zerglings that try to counterattack in the 3rd base. MajOr on top of this game, shutting down all of Elazer's attempts at pressure, as well as taking a little bit of aggressive, damage onto Elazer. What's interesting, though, Brendan, is only now has the 5th and 6th gases gone down for Elazer, so he's really respected MajOr. He's put a lot into Lings and Queens, a lot of this mineral income. Only now is he swapping into that Spire and that bigger gas income.
I love how MajOr's being so active on the map, you know, even with the 4 Hellions that he had, with whatever pressure he has out on the map, he's always going to try to find some damage. You can see now he's pushing once again with this group. The other 2 medevacs are trying to go towards the natural. Nice defense so far from Elazer.
Ooh, good splits there from Elazer. Does set off both Widow Mines. He's going to snipe both of them down, and that's pretty important. Doesn't want to let this parade push start off so early. MajOr is going to pull back for now. He does have a small supply lead. His 2-2 is on the way, a little bit slower than Elazer's, so he's going to have to watch out to not take an engagement when he's at the upgrade disadvantage. But both guys have a big economy right now, and this is that battle I was talking about earlier. It's the battle for the creep in front of the 4th base. MajOr wants to push this creep back. He wants to set up the parade push. Elazer wants to hang on to this base, wants to get his creep spread out front of here.
I like how he's coming while that creep is still there. A really nice hit with one of those Banelings. The Marines on the top left trying to get on top of those Queens, but there's just way, way too much. The Widowmine even doing damage to some of the Marines, and now MajOr's going to have to pick up and go home.
That's a lot of Ling Bane. Did a really good job of just setting off those Widow Mines, engaging with only a few Zerglings and Banelings at a time, setting off the Widow Mines, then coming in with the big follow-up. And those Queens, man, they just tank so much damage. A lot of the Marines were stuck fighting them. So MajOr's being pushed back, and Elazer's going to use this to start spreading that creep out a bit further, starting to saturate this 4th base a little bit more. We can see more and more drones making their way over here. Very nice play from Elazer, and he's starting that Mutalisk production now as well. So if MajOr overextends, he'll get in a lot of trouble very fast.
We'll see what amount of damage this drop can do. You can see a lot of the Marines in the medevac are actually orange and yellow. And look at this, flying right over Spore Crawler.
Oh.
He is so close to it. Oh, he loses it.
Lack of confidence maybe there from MajOr, kind of second-guessing himself and going back and forth through that Spore Crawler zone. He's going to come down here in the middle of the map. Nice Widow Mine placement, but gets some big hits on the Zerglings.
Really, really big hits, and now he's fighting off creep here. Elazer seeming to be very, very confident with the amount of mutas that he does have, and in fact, MajOr just going to try to stim and go back home. Meanwhile, there is a Liberator, and it looks like both the 4th and the Natural doing a ton of damage here.
Yeah, another Liberator on the Natural. This is that Liberator harassment, which, while the Zerg's distracted, can do a massive amount of damage. 10 workers have gone down. That does give MajOr a pretty damn big SCV lead. He's going to reset that up as well, but Elazer is on the ball. Is this his only Mutalisk? I think that... oh no, he's got 16 mutas out now. So, okay, these Liberators aren't going to be able to do much more in the near future. A drop coming down the left-hand side as well. Has to make sure that isn't spotted by the mutas, or that'll be an easy cleanup.
This is a really fun game. You know, it seems a lot like the old TVZs where it's just action all the time. That was kind of scary, but he does have enough mutas now to one-shot these Widow Mines and not get his whole flock hit with a giant AoE hit. And now here we go, the planetary coming up at the 4th base, and this is what Elazer would eventually like to get on top of and deny if possible.
This drop is going to try and pull back Elazer. Right now we're kind of shifting gears. MajOr is the one who's trying to secure his own 4th base. It's massively important that he does that. A nice drop in the main base. Meanwhile, a huge Zergling counterattack from Elazer is going to force MajOr to come on back. Elazer splitting into the 3rd base as well as the natural. Going to find a couple of SCVs. Meanwhile, that drop in the main base does get cleaned up. MajOr picks up and tries to maneuver that over. Looks like both guys just trading blows here a little bit, but Elazer going to try and capitalize on that retreat from MajOr. Going to dive on top of this planetary fortress. That's a lot of Lings, Banes, and Mutas. He needs to take down this planetary. Is he going to get it? He does just barely take that down, but he did sacrifice a lot of army for that, Brendan.
Yeah, this is the moment that MajOr needs to make a major decision. Does he go for the fight? Does he go for the attack or just remake that 4th? And it looks like he's going to remake that 4th. Maybe he's not 100% sure exactly how much Elazer lost, but we could see that on the supply tab, that he was down to about 140 there. And now, I mean, he's going to give Elazer time to, you know, get that hive up, get some more defensive units here, and just get that macro going once again. I would have loved if he just went straight across the map and maybe even try to siege the 4th after that. But
yeah, at least clear some creep, you know, get back out there and scare the Zerg. Of course, with this many Mutas on the map, things are a little bit scary. If you go out there, there's so many Mutalisks. Does cop a nice Widowmine shot there. Elazer continuing to expand to the north side of the map, just really making that his domain. This natural looking very undefended. Almost no missile turrets in these back bases. Actually, none in the main natural and 3rd. The Mutas are going to find this weak spot, and a lot of damage is going to come in.
Yeah, and with 19 Mutas, as long as you can get in and get out without taking much damage, you are just going to shred everything in those mineral lines so fast. And that he does, gets in, gets out, kills a bunch of those SCVs. Now he's looking.
Hungry Liberators.
Yeah, oh, at least they're spread out because he was not microing them. Kind of magic boxing on their own. This is just going to back off.
This is interesting, Brendan, because Hive's only just finishing. 3-3 is done for MajOr, and he's got +2 ship weapons on the way, and he's building 4 Liberators at a time. There's going to be a scary moment before Elazer can really secure any Hive tech, where there's going to be like 10, 12 Liberators out, a maxed out bio army with it. I think that could be a really scary push for MajOr. His one problem is that creep spread you were talking about before. I mean, it's just all over the map. I don't know if he's going to risk pushing his whole army onto that.
Well, he's going to do what you were talking about, which is begin to clear that out. And, I mean, that's really the first step here. He cannot go near that 4th base and how many Banes and Lings he has over there until he begins to clear up that creep. And that he does, but now he's going to pull back once again. Needs to keep that 4th base alive. The 5th base is beginning to be built right now. Not sure exactly where he's going to put that, but that would be fantastic if he could get that up and running. Once again, just out on the creep.
Wow, that's a lot of Ling Bane up there. He doesn't want to go too deep. MajOr's starting to push on. This is a lot of bio, but these Banelings on creep are so powerful. These Liberators are afraid to siege up right now because those Mutalisks could come in at any time. The drop on the north side does get shut down. Those Mutalisks doing a great job there. The push starting to come in. MajOr, he knows he's on a timer. He wants to get in there before the Hive Tech comes out. But he can't afford to fight on creep. The creep's starting to recede. Elazer's going to come off creep with that huge Ling Bane force. Here come the Liberator squad. Oh, man, those Mutalisks start to get torn apart. But Elazer is victorious on the ground. His Zerglings also counterattacking. Are going to finally take that wall down. But the rally does repel them. A nice drop on the north side from MajOr. He's actually going to take down that hatch. I think
really nice snipe. And keep in mind that Elazer was fighting that fight before the adrenaline glands were complete. Had he had that, that would have been a fantastic fight for him, perhaps. But as you were saying, the Liberator fleet that was kind of hidden up until that point with +2 ship weapons just came in, and there was no way to fight with the Mutas at that point. And up until then, it was kind of a decent trade for MajOr. So now he's gotten a lot of presence out on the map. He's able to float that 5th down to the bottom left. And we have a good late game TVZ going on here.
Yeah, a lot of Liberators there. Not that much bio. The Ling Bane's going to come in for the flank. MajOr, a little bit slow to stim, is going to try and get back up onto that high ground. Does save most of these Marines. But the Ling Bane is just going to chase him down. Elazer not going to give this up easily. He wants to hunt down this army. Meanwhile, those Mutas on the right-hand side, they try to go for the exposed Liberator, but so many of them fall. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, they received a nerf, but if you have enough of them, well, they're still going to do a lot of AoE damage. And when he once had about 25 mutas. Now he's got 10. And it looks like he is going to be transitioning now into ultras. Let's see the composition here for MajOr. He's only got 4 Marauders in this mix. He's really just relying on the Liberators right now to deal with the mutas and eventually these ultras on the ground, it seems.
And Corruptors are coming in now, as well as a few Infestors for Elazer. He needs something to deal with those Liberators, plus 3 ship weapons on the way, as well as Terran building armor. MajOr's playing a really good late game here. However, his weakness in the past has been being a little bit too afraid to commit and actually close out the game. So I hope he doesn't leave this too long and let Elazer kind of catch up. Elazer's been behind in supply for a long time, but Elazer's starting to close that gap. If he can hang on to this base in the top right, I think he's going to be in an okay spot. Yeah,
he's got a lot of gas bank too, 1,400. Has that 5th base, as you were talking about. Hasn't even taken the gases up there. He's struggling for minerals at this point. MajOr, he has identified that he needs to get up there and destroy this 5th base once again. And it looks like he should be able to without... Oh, he's going to back off first. Wants to take the fight. Wants to bait into the Liberators.
Yep, he needs those Marines to try and kill the mutas, but no, the Banelings get on top of them. All the Liberators going down to the air units. A beautiful engagement for Elazer. Crushes MajOr's army. At the end of it, supply is very even. It looks like Elazer keeping that 5th alive is actually going to be back in this game.
Yeah, definitely. So 5 more ultras on the way. And really not much of an answer, especially because Elazer has a pretty nice air force at this point. A mix of mutas and corruptors to deal with the Liberators in the sky. It's just going to rely on Bio, it seems, to deal with the ultras on the ground. And that is so many ultras, even after the nerf. Still very, very strong.
MajOr continuing to deny bases on the left-hand side. That's what he needs to do. He's going to hit the right-hand side at the same time. He's going to dive in there. Elazer's desperately trying to defend on both sides at once. Oh, but nice micro from MajOr on the right. He's going to take down those ultras, those mutas on the left. Retreats to the planetary fortress. Snipes down an ultra there as well. MajOr controlling fights in 2 locations really well and taking the better end on both sides of the map. Elazer is actually taking massive losses right now.
Yeah, and he's only building Lings too, even with that giant gas bank. It was a perfect idea for MajOr to just bait these ultras into packs of double Widow Mines.
Oh,
it just does so much damage to just one ultra in the front. He can easily kite it from there. He really just had no support for the ultras, and he threw away those big gas units that he used to have.
Look at that income tab. You can see Terran's actually ahead right now, even though he doesn't have that many mules being dropped. He's been doing a lot of scans. Wow. What a game.
There you go. MajOr able to take that one, and what a game indeed. I mean, we went to about 20, 25 minutes on that one. Very, very close, very back and forth. It was looking in Elazer's point in his favor at a lot of the times in that game. But once MajOr got that 4th up and then eventually the 5th, and Elazer really couldn't pressure it, it was just kind of all went downhill from there.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was so close there. For a moment when Elazer kind of pincered that army, but then MajOr with the 2-sided, push on both sides. The Liberators constantly zoning out those mutas.
That was fantastic, actually. His control is really, really good, in fact.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because often people will be critical of MajOr. Myself, I've said it in the past. Where like, he's all over the place. He's harassing. He's multitasking. But then there's always the moment in his EVT where he's not watching a big fight and Banelings roll in because he's too busy multitasking. But that time we didn't really see that at all.
Yeah, and we are jumping into Habitation Station for game number 2. So another 2-player map. It's not going to be this gigantic map where he's going to have to multitask a ton. Can kind of just hold 3 bases pretty comfortably. But we'll have to wait and see if either player wants to throw in something tricky on a map like Habitation Station. I don't see either player really wanting to do that. I guess if one player was going to, I guess it would be MajOr with the lead that he already has.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I guess because Elazer and Nurture, Polish brothers, maybe there's like the Ravager Roach Pressure, the very fast one. But I think this map does have a lot of those cheeky options. I can't imagine either of them is going to go completely all in with it. I got to agree with you there, Brendan. So we are going to dive on into map number 2. Spawning up here in the left-hand side. Going down in that map number 1. It is Elazer.
Needs to win 2 in a row.
Cheeky, cheeky.
Well, we were talking about cheekiness. There we go. Up in the top right, he's going to have to defend this. The blue turn, up 1 game. It is MajOr.
I have no idea how this build
boy.
works. This is a 12 pool, Brendan. The fastest spawning pool you can go into a... Is this just an extractor trick or a gas? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting kind of build here. He's going for double gas, it looks like, just for the supply. Going to keep one of them. May cancel. I assume he would cancel the second one. Doesn't need it that early. And, okay, he's actually going to complete it. There we go. So Roach Warren, he's going to need all that gas for the roaches that are coming out. And I'm sure you're happy about that, Jared.
Yeah, looks like it is going to be a super fast Ravage Rush. This is some, like, Legacy of the Void beta stuff right now. This is going to hit so early, and MajOr has no idea about it. And if we think about TVZ meta recently, what do Terran players do every game? They open up with a Reaper, and then they spend the first 2 minutes just looking for the early Zerglings from an early pool coming across while they defend their command center. They're not trying to scout what's coming at them. So there's a good chance MajOr doesn't get any forewarning until this Ravage is actually knocking on his door.
Look at what he's doing. He went gas first into a late barracks, of course, and then he goes CC afterwards. It's just gas first, Reaper expand. And the build that Elazer's doing is designed to crush something like this.
Yeah, a couple of Hellions is probably going to be the usual follow-up. I mean, he can swap into, like, Widow Mine production, but Ravagers don't really care that much about Widow Mines. They can just corrosive bile them down, and that's exactly what Elazer is going to go for. He's actually got double gas. This is pretty all in. I mean, he's got, like, 8 drones on minerals. He's got 6 gas. He's just going to keep rallying roaches up to quite a decent number of them and just keep morphing every single one into a Ravager. This is going to be such a scary push.
Yeah, and you can see how long he's hiding it, too. The Reaper of MajOr is going down, and he's going up, and he's not seeing anything. I think he may have gotten a glance there.
There was a glimpse, but I don't know if he actually noticed it. He was already queued up to retreat after that. MajOr going for a starport now. He's going to swap the factory over. I don't see like a bunker or anything. Finally, he definitely knows what's going on now.
Now he knows. He immediately brings that back, starts a Cyclone right away. Looks like he wants to have that CC complete and then lift it and try to defend in this main. Okay, he's going to make that into an orbital first.
Oh my gosh, that reactor is going to go down so fast here. 2 Marines do manage to get out just barely in time, but 2 Marines and a Reaper up against 3 Ravagers. He's going to try and dive in here. Elazer wants to kill these units before the Cyclone gets out. He wants to start dealing the damage right now, and he's doing a great job so far. MajOr's trying to surround with the SCVs, but it's not enough just yet. Oh, the Cyclone is out, and that's a scary unit, of course. Remember, the Ravagers aren't armored. They don't take bonus damage from this.
I'm surprised that he didn't pull all the SCVs at first. He really needed to go for just one big hold, and here he goes, finally pulling all the SCVs.
He's going to get the wraparound with the SCVs. He needs to stop these Ravagers from retreating. One Ravager does go down. Another one about to fall. This is good defense by MajOr. He's taking a lot of SCV losses, but I think he's going to hold now. The Cyclone here. Oh, wow.
The Cyclone just doing way too much damage, and with the wraparound, he does get the defense, and the second Cyclone coming out. This is going to be totally held, and with the second orbital, that is just huge for MajOr. He's even going to get this Overlord with the double lock on. And what can Elazer do from here? He can't really go back and expand. He's just making more and more Ravagers.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good defense for MajOr for the first stage. Can he stop the follow-up stage? He's only building a Widow Mine right now. That's not what you need. You need more Cyclones, but he doesn't have the gas because he's rebuilding that reactor. He's going to have to use this high ground. Of course, killing the Overlord with the lock-on was massive. Elazer cannot see those Cyclones until he pushes up to this middle point of the ramp. So Elazer's, I don't know, if he goes up there, it's kind of all in. You're going to lose a Ravager so quickly.
And here we go. The Widow Mine is about to complete as well. Maybe if he could have snuck it out without Elazer seeing, but as you were saying before, the Corrosive Biles can easily just kill it. He might even just kill it before it gets burrowed. There he goes.
Wow, yeah, that goes down so quickly. Now the barracks is in danger of falling. The factory, oh wow, the barracks is down. There's just one factory. That's the only thing that can build fighting units right now. MajOr's going to come forward. He's got the repair, but the focus fire is good. One Cyclone does fall, and it looks like the second wave here from Elazer might actually do the trick. Oh, only one Cyclone and a few SCVs left. Elazer is constantly rallying Roaches and Ravagers up against, what, a second Cyclone about to pop out?
Needs the second Cyclone, and he needs to take it very seriously. He may even lose that factory. I love how patient Elazer is being with this. He's waiting for more Ravagers, continuously corrosive biling that factory, getting it very low for that final push, trying to break the back here of MajOr.
Now these Roaches and Ravagers are going to push up this ramp. Focus firing on the Cyclone. One Ravager falls. Another Ravager's about to fall, but the Cyclones are gone. MajOr knocked out of that game. Elazer with a very well calculated cheesy push there to Whirlpool, 13 gas, 1 base,
Wow.
Ravager all in.
That was insane. The double gas, too, was just all in as you could be. You know, as we were saying, even after the first push failed, it was not like you were going to make a second hatchery. Just continued pushing that in there. And MajOr, you know, if he had continued making Cyclones, if he had, you know, kept his SCVs at the ready and kept his Cyclones back, held the ramp, maybe he could have held that. But, you know, the Widow Mine that he chose to finish, the extra reactor that he didn't need, it's almost like he said to himself, oh, I held it off, now let me transition. But then he wasn't expecting the second push.
Exactly. It's so weird, right? You're so unused to playing as this like 1 base Ravager push. Normally you play against a 2 base variety of that where they're droning behind the first 4 or 5 Ravagers. There's no all in, right? There's an economic transition. So he just kind of lost himself there, as you said. And I think a third Cyclone, get back on gas mining a bit quicker. As you said, use the high ground once the Overlord's gone. I think he definitely could hold on there. So a little bit unfortunate for MajOr, a really good first hold. But yeah, hats off to Elazer. Pulls out the cheeky build, gets the win, ties it up.
Yeah, we were talking about that one of the Polish brothers really bringing in a very cheeky build. And we are going into game number 3. It is going to be on Daybreak. And this is for all the marbles to decide who gets that extra win, those extra 3 points, and a fantastic spot in this group.
Oh, yeah. It is very important, of course. First place in each group goes through to the top 8. The second and third places have to battle another second or third place player in the round of 12 to see who goes through. So let's find out who's going to head towards that first place spot in this group. Spawning up here in the top right-hand side of Daybreak, it is Elazer. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side of Daybreak, the blue Terran, representing Mexico, it is MajOr. Daybreak,
very wide map, lots of room, but the 4th base can get pretty hard to take, especially for a Zerg. If the Terran is all over you, you could see you either take that middle base or you take the one all the way down in the bottom right corner for Elazer. And Elazer, he's going to start off with gas pool. It's not the super fast, you know, gas and pool that he did in the last game, but still going to start off a bit safe. May just want to get some lings over to the base of MajOr very fast as well.
Very safe against 3 Racks Reaper or anything crazy like that. Does give the potential for some little fancy like 10 Zergling rush very quickly, right when Ling Speed finishes just before Hellions pop out or just as they pop out. So there are some options there, just an exceptionally safe way to play, and that is something Elazer does like to do. Loves to get to that macro game reliably. MajOr, once again, went for gas first here. So just a gas first Reaper expand. I would say, I mean, with what we've been seeing from Terran players and him as well in that last game, looks like probably just yet another Hellion expand.
And maybe Elazer's reading into this too. He's saying, okay, if I can get around the Reaper and get to that CC that he's most definitely going for, and with the late Hellions that come after the Reaper, maybe I can delay the CC and I can get ahead through there. He is only going to commit to 4 Lings. And let's see in what direction he decides to go here. He's got Overlords in position to spot that Reaper. I think he may have missed it there on the left side of this Overlord, though.
Yeah, he may have just barely seen it go up. That's Reaper. Is doing what we're always talking about. Reapers aren't really for harassing these days in ZVT. They're just to try and find the Zerglings, which are inevitably trying to hide from the Reapers. So the Reaper comes down, checks the Watchtower, he goes back, and down here these Zerglings are just waiting. The Overlord's seen the Reaper dancing around. Elazer doesn't want to show them just yet, but this Reaper is buying time for that command center to safely finish up. So well played.
So safe, Elazer. He's patient, I guess is the word. He's waiting again to see that Reaper go up to the top right, and this is when he should send those Lings, and there he goes. I think it is going to be too late, though, to deny that CC just barely, and the 2 Hellions should pop out just in time.
Yep, very nice play here by MajOr, just very safe. Finally, he gets over here with the Reaper, sees the 3rd hatchery is down, gets a vague idea of what's going on. Those Zerglings are going to come in here, try and capture that SCV. They are going to get a full scout off of the base, but these Hellions will end them very quickly. Nice split by Elazer. Might actually get another SCV. He does. Very well done.
Well, this is the damage he was looking for. He doesn't quite get to deny the CC, but he gets 2 SCVs, gets a full scout, knows exactly what MajOr is doing, and can prepare accordingly. This Reaper still does live and will get a scout of the main of Elazer as well. The Overlord speed does finish, though, and he goes in for a follow-up scout.
Does see that the starport's building a medevac or liberator. Knows it's one of those units coming out first of all. He's probably going to come back in to see. Yeah, he wants to see if this starport swaps over. Does see the medevac as well. That's really good. I love that he just stayed in there that extra couple of seconds with the Overlord, and now he knows to be worried about some sort of Hellion drop.
Yeah, and funnily enough, that I think that medevac just flew right past the Overlord. So MajOr's not really trying to hide what he's doing here. Is going to pick up and drop into the main. There are some Lings in position, but not right on top of it. And this is 3 Hellions. Could definitely get a lot of damage done.
A few more Lings do pop out just barely in time, but nice micro from MajOr trying to get behind these minerals. Not going to pick up those Hellions. Does. Oh, look at that cute play. Picks up the Hellion, drops it back down to get one more worker kill. Does take 4 drones for those 2 Hellions. So at the end of the day, not a bad trade. This Overlord for Elazer just came back in, saw the starport, swapped onto the tech lab. He knows that he's up against a Cloak Banshee follow-up, sees more Hellions coming out of the map. I think Elazer's got to start putting 2 and 2 together and say, hey, maybe there's going to be a mech follow-up to this. There's definitely a lot of continued aggression for now. This is not just some passive macro play from MajOr. He wants to get over on Elazer's side of the map, and he wants to kill a lot of workers.
So we did have the Cloak actually be canceled. He did keep that Banshee. Here come the Hellions once again. Elazer is more than ready for it this time around. Not going to lose anything but a couple of Lings. We'll be ready for that. You do see a Raven is started after that first Banshee. And as I said before, no Cloak on this one.
Yeah, good call there to cancel that. Of course, Spore Crawlers have already been forced out by the threat of the upgrade, which he did see, swapping into the Raven. And extra factories are going down, so it is going to be that mech play. I do love the power of the aggression here, though, from MajOr. This Reaper has been controlling Elazer's watchtower this entire time. Because the Hellions have been over there, the Banshee just builds this 3rd command center on location, which is normally something very greedy against someone who's got those Zerglings running around. But using the mobility of these Hellions, MajOr just playing a little bit greedy in his follow-up and really making use of his build in every single facet.
Yeah, and look at what Elazer's going for. Roach Warren, +1 missiles and Carapace. So it seems like he has identified what he is going up against. Hasn't really taken all that much damage. He's up to 57 drones here. Wouldn't be surprised to see him take a 4th base. Once he can deal with these Hellbats and just begin to heavily drone up.
I don't know if there's any roaches out right now. There's only 5 queens and 10 zerglings on the map, and that is a lot of Hellbats. Oh, that is 8 Hellbats and a medevac. Elazer's caught completely with his pants down. He does not have any reaction to this, and his queens just have to run.
I thought he had roaches out here. This is unbelievable. He actually has no defense here. I think he was just a little bit too greedy, in fact.
Yeah.
Up to 61 drones. He's going to rely on Lings and Queens only to go up against this many Hellbats. That is not going to work.
Buying time. He's not going to lose too many drones. Just a couple going down for now as these roaches come out, but Queens going down. So much lost mining time. And actually being sloppy here. Saved all the drones at first. Now he's just leaving them sitting there. The Hellbats are killing so many.
He's getting on top of them. 18 drones go down and even saves 2 of the Hellbats. And they're not even done doing damage here.
Oh, man. I think, was that a... Oh, it was the auto turrets in the main. 5 kills on that Raven in the main base. So it dropped auto turrets there. Distracted Elazer at the crucial moment. That's why he left those drones there.
Oh, boy.
Apologies for my observing, guys. Here's a long day, and that blue dot on that dark area of the map, a little bit hard for me to see. But Raven did a really good amount of damage there. Does come back in once more. Actually almost goes down, and I think this puts MajOr in such a good position. He's got a good number of Cyclones out. He's getting a 4th and 5th factory. He's got, tank production starting up, +1 vehicle weapons about to finish. His 2nd armory starting up. MajOr's in a very good position now, 20 supply lead, and it's all going to be on Elazer to try and frantically recover a bit of economy and somehow defend the big mech push that's going to come his way.
Yeah, you can tell that he's not droning up much past 53. I mean, if he had the 22 drones, or rather 25 that he lost, he would be up to 78 at this point, but he's just lost so much. But he's not going to over-drone. Like some Zergs, they're like, oh, I got to get back into the game. I got to get so many drones. But he identifies the fact that a follow-up push should be coming here. And if he can shut it down hard, then maybe he survives and he takes it to a long game. So I like what he's doing here, making a lot of Roaches and Ravagers.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision. It's a little bit of a gamble either way when you're this far behind, but Elazer's gambling on bigger unit production. The thing is, now that he's showed the Roaches, MajOr's actually been so careful. He's seen, oh, massive Roach production. MajOr also scanned the natural, saw there was a gas missing and said, whoa, you're not even going up to 6 gases? So MajOr knows he doesn't have to worry about anything like Vipers or Hive Tech, and that's just giving MajOr all the information he needs to sit back at home, turtle up, cover himself with Banshees. He drops another scan on the third base, sees that there's no Hive on the way, sees that there's not that many drones on the minerals, and it's all just about defending this one Roach Ravager punch that Elazer's going to throw at him. There's no more upgrades even on the way for Elazer. It's just 1-1 Roach Ravager.
It's going to be pretty hard here. He needs to get on top of that tank. Already taking so much damage. Look at that from all the Cyclones.
Wow.
Still a lot of Roaches punching through, trying to get on top of that bulk of the Cyclones.
Is actually a very nice timing attack. Elazer starting to break through some of these units, but his Roach count is almost completely decimated. The Hellbat splash here is actually massive as he tries to hug the Cyclones and tanks. The Hellbat suddenly become an exceptionally effective unit. The Raven comes back now, throws down a few auto turrets. This Banshee raining down damage from the right-hand side on the reinforced. Those Hellbats being worth their weight in gold. They are doing so much damage to these Roaches. And wow, MajOr holds on. He's up 40 supply. He's even going to go across the map with a Hellion counterattack.
Yeah.
Elazer's at only 49 drones. This is a disastrous position for our Polish Zerg.
That's all he had to do, right? He just had to hold off the giant wave of Roaches, and he does it. He doesn't even lose any economy. He's still up to 71 SCVs. He is in total control of this game. Elazer just getting a little bit too greedy there as they were entering that stage of getting a 4th base, and he's going to pay for it. MajOr looking fantastic in this game.
Wow, the Hellion's even going to get a couple of drones, drone losses, which Elazer, frankly, cannot afford to lose at this point. He's down at 55 versus 71 SCVs. MajOr's still building SCVs. There's one thing I am critical of with MajOr is, like, he builds too many SCVs. There's a point where it's like, wait, we say that supply for army, buddy. You can't even get that many mineral patches. But, I mean, he's got a sick economy right now, and he's going to max out very soon.
Yeah, adding in a bunch of tanks, too, just to form the backbone of his army. Lots of Banshees coming out one by one. Extra command centers just to make sure he's got a 4th base up here and running, whereas Elazer hasn't even finished his 4th base. A very sad moment for our Polish Zerg as he just desperately holds on by one pinky nail in this game.
He's starting to get out a few Hydralisks. Will help against these Banshees that are being mixed in. Creep spread looking kind of pathetic right now. Lazer's going to need some sick counterattacks. He's going to need to buy time. Realistically, MajOr is hitting his power point right now. His army is huge. Elazer needs to find a way to put off the direct engagement for a minute or two. He somehow needs to pull MajOr home, but I just can't see how he's going to do it. This looks like the Doom push right now.
Look at how carefully he sieges up his tanks to one big line of tanks, and here comes Elazer. Nope, he's going to rethink it, and he's going to have to give up that 4th base.
You see MajOr here just playing this very carefully. Drones being pulled off the line. The Roach Hydra coming in. The siege tanks even being focus fired on the Roach Hydra at the start of that fight. All the drones go down. Cyclones at the front are going to fall. A few of the siege tanks will go down as well. Elazer's starting to break through, but he's taken so many losses to make this hold happen. And there's so many units reinforcing.
The tanks don't end. GG, well played, and MajOr will take the best of 3 and will take the win.
That is a big win there for MajOr, man.
It really is. I want to see the group standings now that has happened, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a graphic up very soon because, I mean, this is the crazy group. It's the group of death, you know, to use a word which has been horribly overused throughout StarCraft's history way too many times. But, yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. Neeb's still doing really well in the group. MajOr now is very high in the standings as well, kind of contesting for 1st place.
I think he's at 3-1 now, at least, I believe.
I believe so,
with
yeah.
one more game to go.
Of course. Zerg Hamdi is trailing in the group at the moment, I believe. And then...
yeah, actually, I think that was